Welcome to the second session of this therapy course. You have already set off on the path to overcome social anxiety. Now it's time to take the next step and find out how social phobia is formed and how it affects our behavior. So how does social anxiety start? How does it become rooted in our lives? And what effect does it have on them? This session is dedicated to these mechanisms. Knowing about them will help you understand how to deal with social phobia. When you find yourself in an alarming situation, do you worry about what other people think? Maybe you think beforehand that something might go wrong, or after the event, you end up fixated on something that could have gone better. Thoughts like this are the effect of social anxiety. If you find it difficult to concentrate on what other people are saying or to express your own thoughts, these are effects of social anxiety too. If you start sweating, blushing, or even shaking, or felt excessively tense in these kinds of situations, then you know how social anxiety affects the body. Needless to say, social anxiety affects our feelings and emotions. It causes worry, agitation, envy, anger, fear, and shame. Do you ever speak too fast or quietly, mix up your words, and avoid eye contact while talking to people? Perhaps you avoid such difficult social situations. Do you do everything you can in order not to attract attention to yourself? This is how social anxiety affects our behavior. Thoughts, feelings, physiological responses, and behavior, all these aspects of social anxiety are linked to one another. For example, you think you look stupid. You start to feel awkward and embarrassed. This makes your heart to beat faster and your hands to shake. You look away and try to fade into the background. As strange as it might seem for a social anxiety response to take place, it is necessary not only to experience symptoms of anxiety, but also to pay attention to them. And as we'll see later, working with attention is one of the stages of doing away with excessive social anxiety. So what do well-known psychotherapists say about social anxiety? Let's consider the relevant social phobia formation model according to the theory of David Clark and Adrian Wells. In line with this theory, everything starts with a trigger situation. Let's suppose you need to speak in public. You assess this necessity in terms of your beliefs and assumptions. For example, you may believe that the people you're giving the speech to have a negative attitude towards you. Because of these beliefs, you view the situation as dangerous and think you won't be able to put yourself across as well as others. These kinds of thoughts cause discomfort and anxiety. This is a trigger for social anxiety. You start concentrating on your anxiety and how you look to others. Your focus of attention while communicating shifts inwards. You are more sharply aware of the sound of your voice or the fact that you're blushing. You think those around you notice all this. And there you are. You have found yourself in a situation typical for someone with social anxiety. How do people usually try to deal with social anxiety? The most common ways are avoidance and safety behaviors. If we just avoid what makes us anxious, we won't be able to find out that actually it isn't dangerous at all. It seems to us that if we avoid it, this means there is a danger, and each time this happens, social anxiety becomes more deeply rooted. Safety behaviors can result in us looking at the ground so as not to meet anyone's gaze, or leave a room immediately after the event in order to avoid any casual chit-chat. We raise our hand to our mouth and cover our face with our hair. All this does in fact work and enables us not to experience fear at the particular time. But as we'll see later, it is avoiding facing fear that entrenches our phobia, including ones associated with social assessment. So, to conclude, in this session, you have found out that your thoughts, feelings, bodily responses, and behavior are linked to formation of social anxiety. All these aspects are interconnected and supplement each other, triggering the mechanism of anxiety. You have also become familiar with the social phobia formation model of David Clark and Adrian Wells. According to this model, in an uncomfortable social situation, due to negative beliefs, expectations of misfortune, and anxious thoughts arise. The focus of attention shifts inwards, and you sense your fears and physiological manifestations more sharply. The only thing left is to choose whether to flee or to defend yourself. Now, you are able to identify the factors that keep social anxiety at work, namely, excessive concentration on your anxiety and how you seem to other people, thoughts that cause social anxiety, safety behaviors, and a lack of self-confidence. How can social anxiety be overcome? The 4 factors mentioned play a role. Firstly, reduce the focus on your anxiety and how you come across to others. Secondly, change the way you think. Thirdly, let go of safety behaviors. Lastly, increase your self-confidence. Now you know what you need to do. This is just what the next session of the course is dedicated to. Before you move on to the next part, though, it is important to reinforce the knowledge you've gained in this session in practice. So do the exercise in order to analyze your social anxiety mechanisms. And we will see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day.